Chapter 1. A Beautiful Wife. I do not remember when I met Clara. I also do not remember where I met her. It was a long, long time ago. My memory is not very good now. I think I met her first in a big old city. The city was near the Rhine River in Germany. She told me her family was very old and important, but I never knew the name of her family. Clara was my friend. She was my partner when I studied. Later, she was my wife. I never found out her family name. Why? Maybe she did not want me to know. I cannot remember. I remember one thing very well. Clara was tall and thin. Later, when she was dying, she became very, very thin. I can tell you about her movements. They were quiet and like a queen. Her footsteps were very soft. If she came into my office, I did not know she was there. I only knew when I heard her voice, or when she put her white hand on my shoulder. She had a beautiful face, but it was not a beauty like you see in paintings. There was something different about it. I often tried to understand it. Was it her skin? Her skin was very white. Or was it her hair? Her hair was thick and black. I looked at her nose. It was long and thin. It was perfect. I looked at her mouth. It was sweet and red. When she smiled, her teeth were white. Then I looked into her eyes. Her eyes were very big, bigger than normal eyes. Sometimes, when she was happy, her eyes looked like a deer's eyes. They were black. She had long, black eyelashes and black eyebrows. But when I looked into her eyes, I saw something strange. I thought about it for many hours. Sometimes I thought about it all night. What was in her eyes? I wanted to know. Many times I thought I almost knew. But then the answer was gone. Clara was very strong. She wanted things very much. She was always calm and quiet, but you could see her strong will in her eyes. It shined like a strong light. Sometimes it makes me afraid. Clara was very smart. She was good at Latin and Greek. She knew many other languages perfectly. She never made mistakes. She also studied science and math. When we were first married, I asked her to help me with my studies. We worked together. But after she died, I was alone. I was like a child in the dark. When she first became sick, she did not come to help me as much. She lost weight. Her skin became pale. It looked like glass. When I saw that she was dying, I was very sad and afraid. Clara fought against death with all her strength. She wanted to live. I watched her fight for her life. It was very hard to see. I knew she loved me, but I only understood how much she loved me when she was dying. She held my hands. She said she loved me very much. I cannot talk about it now, but I will say that her love for me was part of why she wanted to live. On the night she died, she suddenly got out of bed. She cried, "Oh God, must I die? Must I lose my fight with death? No, I cannot die like this." But my dear Clara died. I was so sad. I could not stay in the old city by the Rhine. For a few months I traveled. Then I bought an old house. It was in a quiet part of England. The place was dark and sad. It was like my feelings of being alone. But I put bright colors in the house. I bought colorful curtains, carpets, and decorations. I said to myself, maybe the bright colors will make me feel happier. But they did not. I started to drink too much. I do not want to talk about that time. I will only say that one day I married Miss Sarah Trevor. Sarah had blonde hair and blue eyes. She was very different from my first wife. But how could I ever forget Clara? I took Sarah to a room high up in the tower of the house. We lived there for the first month of our marriage. The room was very big. It had a very large window made of glass from Venice. The ceiling was high, like a church. In the center of the room was a big gold light. There were sofas from the east and an Indian bed. On the walls were long clothes like carpets. They had designs made of gold. The clothes moved every time the wind blew. My wife was afraid of me. I was often sad. She did not love me very much. She stayed away from me. But I liked this. I always thought about Clara, my beautiful Clara. She was dead in the tomb. Sometimes, in my dreams, I called her name in the night. I thought that maybe my love for her could bring her back to me. At the beginning of the second month, Sarah became sick. She did not sleep very well. She told me she could hear sounds in the tower. "You have a fever," I said. "You are imagining things." She got better. But then she became sick again. It was worse than the first time. The doctors did not know what was wrong. Again, Sarah began to hear sounds in the bedroom. They frightened her. One night at the end of September, she woke up suddenly. I was sitting on a sofa near her bed. She whispered to me that she could hear sounds and see movements. She looked very afraid. But I did not see or hear anything. "It's the wind," I said. "You can see the cloth moving in the wind." But her face was white. She was very scared. She almost fainted. I remembered that there was some wine on the table. It was on the other side of the room. As I walked under the light, something strange happened. I felt something move past me. It was like something invisible. On the carpet, I saw a shadow. It was like the shadow of a shadow. I decided not to tell Sarah. I poured some wine. I gave it to her. Then I sat on the sofa and watched her. After a few minutes, I heard very quiet footsteps on the carpet. They were coming towards the bed. A second later, Sarah was about to drink the wine. I saw something, or maybe I dreamed it. I saw 3 or 4 big drops of red liquid fall into the glass. Sarah did not see it. She drank the wine. I did not say anything because I thought it was only my imagination. After this, Sarah's health became much worse. On the 3rd night, she died. Her servants prepared her body for the tomb. They covered her with a sheet. The next night, I sat alone with her body in the bedroom. Strange shapes and shadows moved around me. I looked at the dark corners. I felt frightened. Then I looked at the carpet under the light. There was no shadow there. I felt better. When I looked at Sarah on the bed, sad memories of Clara came back to me. Clara was the only woman I ever loved. It was maybe around midnight. I heard a sound. It was quiet but clear. It woke me from my dreams. I thought it came from the bed. I listened. I was very afraid. But I did not hear it again. I looked carefully at Sarah. I looked for any sign of life. She was not moving. But I kept looking at her. Minutes passed. Then I saw a little color in Sarah's face. My heart stopped. I could not move. I understood that Sarah was not dead. I tried to help her, but soon the color disappeared from her face. Her face looked like stone again. Her lips were thin. She had the horrible look of death. When her body was cold, I fell onto the sofa. I dreamed about Clara. An hour later, I heard the same sound as before. I listened. Yes, there it was again, a sigh from the bed. I ran to the bed. I saw that her lips were shaking. Then they opened. I saw her bright teeth. I thought I was going crazy. There was a pink color on her cheeks and neck. Her body was getting warm again. Her heart was beating a little. Sarah was alive. I did everything I could to help her. Then suddenly, her color disappeared. Her heart stopped. Her body became cold. I sat down. I began to think about Clara again. Then again, for the third time, there was a sound from the bed. Why must I talk about the horrible things of that night again? I tried to help Sarah each time. Each time she seemed to fight with something I could not see. Each time her body changed. I cannot say how, but she looked different. It was almost dawn when she moved again. I was sitting on the sofa. I was very tired, but Sarah's body moved with more strength than before. Her color came back. Signs of life changed her face. Her eyes were closed, but she looked alive. Then she suddenly got out of bed. She walked slowly to the center of the room. It was like she was walking in her sleep. I did not shake. I did not move. I was as cold as stone. I could not move because of what I saw. As I looked at her, my head was full of strange thoughts. Was Sarah really alive? Could I really see her blonde hair and blue eyes? Why was I not sure? I could not see her mouth very well, but her cheeks were pink, like roses. Weren't they Sarah's cheeks? But wasn't she taller, smaller than before? I was going crazy. I ran to her, but she moved away. Then I saw her long hair moving in the wind. It was black, blacker than the black of midnight. And now, slowly, her eyes opened. I shouted like a crazy man, "These are the black eyes of my lost love!" I fell back. I hit the wall. My head hurts. I looked at the woman in the room. Was it Sarah or was it Clara? I could not tell. The woman looked at me. Her eyes were black, Clara's eyes. But the body? The body was different, smaller. Sarah's size. "Who are you?" I asked. My voice was shaking. I was very afraid. The woman did not answer. She walked closer to me, slowly, like a cat. Her eyes never left mine. I could feel the cold in the room, a cold that was not just from the wind. It was a cold that came from her eyes, from her presence. "Clara?" I whispered. "Is that you?" A small smile came to her lips. Sarah's, I knew it. I felt it in my heart. "Yes," she said. Her voice was soft, like Clara's, but a little different, a little weaker. "It is me." I did not understand. How was this possible? Clara was dead. I saw her die. I buried her. How could she be here, in Sarah's body? How is this happening? I asked. She looked at me sadly. Her eyes filled with tears. Black tears. "I do not know," she said. "I only know that I am here. I am with you. I could not leave you." I walked closer to her. I reached out my hand. I touched her face. Her skin was cold, but it felt like Clara's skin. Smooth, soft. "I missed you so much," I said. The tears were flowing now. I could not stop them. "I have been so lonely without you." She put her hand on mine. Her hand was small, Sarah's hand, but the touch was Clara's, warm, loving. "I know," she said. "I felt your pain. I heard you call my name." We stood there for a long time, holding hands, looking into each other's eyes. I did not care that she was in Sarah's body. I did not care that it was impossible. I only cared that she was here, that Clara was back. But then a thought came to me, a terrible thought. What about Sarah? Where was she? Was she trapped inside her own body? Was she suffering? "What about Sarah?" I asked. "Where is she?" Clara looked away. Her face became sad. She is gone," she said. Gone? What do you mean, gone? I do not know, she said. I only know that I am here. I am using her body, but she is not here anymore. I felt sick. This was wrong, very wrong. I loved Clara, but I did not want her to hurt anyone. I did not want her to take someone else's life. This is not right, I said. You cannot stay here. You have to go back. You have to let Sarah come back. Clara started to cry. No, she said. I cannot. I love you. I cannot leave you again. But this is not you, I said. This is Sarah's body. You are taking her life. I did not mean to, she cried. I only wanted to be with you. I only wanted to love you. I did not know what to do. I loved Clara, but I could not accept this. I could not let her stay in Sarah's body. I need time to think, I said. I need to understand what is happening. Clara nodded. She wiped away her tears. Okay, she said. But please, please do not leave me. I am so afraid. I promised her I would not leave. We sat on the sofa together, holding hands. But I could not stop thinking about Sarah, about her lost life, about the terrible thing that had happened. The sun began to rise. The light filled the room. I looked at the woman next to me. She had Clara's eyes, but Sarah's face. It was a strange and terrible sight. I knew I had to do something, but I did not know what. I was trapped between my love for Clara and my sense of what was right. The next few days were very strange. I tried to talk to Clara, to understand what had happened, but she did not know. She only knew that she was in Sarah's body and that she loved me. She tried to act like Clara. She read my books. She spoke in Latin and Greek. She cooked my favorite meals, but it was not the same. It could never be the same. I missed Sarah. I missed her blonde hair and blue eyes. I missed her laugh. I missed her presence. Even though we were not very close, she was my wife, and now she is gone. Replaced by a ghost in her own body. I started to drink again. It was the only way to forget the horror of what had happened, to forget the woman with black eyes and blonde hair who lived in my tower. One night I drank too much. I went to the tower room. Clara was waiting for me. She looked worried. You are drunk, she said. Yes, I said. I am drunk because I cannot stand this anymore. I cannot stand you. You are not Clara. You are just a monster in her body. Clara started to cry. Do not say that, she said. I am Clara. I love you. No, I shouted. You are not Clara. Clara is dead. You are just a ghost. Get out of her body. Let her rest. I grabbed her. I shook her. I wanted to force her out, but she was too strong. Stop, she cried. You are hurting me. I let go of her. I fell to the floor. I started to cry, too. I do not know what to do, I said. I am lost. I am alone. Clara came to me. She held me in her arms. I know, she said, but I am here. I will help you. We will find a way. I did not believe her, but I held on to her. I needed someone, anyone, even a ghost in my wife's body. I knew that something had to change. I could not live like this anymore, but I did not know how to fix it. I was trapped in a nightmare, and I could not wake up.